Hi everybody, John here again. I'm going to jump in on this thread of what was your first CD. I think, as I understand it, it was started by Bill Brad. I've watched a couple, Jürgen S and James Griffiths. So yeah, this is my bit. My very first CD player came to me quite early on in the CD scene, if you like. I can remember they were being advertised on the television, and it was seemed to be kind of, at the time, it was synonymous with the Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms album, which was huge at that time. And I think there was a lot of sort of attention to the fact that it was a big seller, brilliantly produced. They were very, very, like a very hot band at that time, and the album was, I think, probably digitally produced or something. I don't know, but it was being sort of advertised in a way that, this is what CDs were for, really. They obviously were very expensive at the time. CDs, were a shocking price. I think at the time, in the mid 80s or 86, they would have been about, 12, £13 an average price, and at the time it seemed like a lot of money, because vinyl records were still around about £5, £6, £7 to buy, brand new, I think. Anyway, I had no hope of having a CD player, because it really was sort of a higher end market, if you like. But I'd expressed an interest in this, and I would have been 16 at the time. And then my sister had a boyfriend who, in the long run, it turned out he was quite a rogue of a gentleman, I suppose you'd say. But he'd seen me, and heard me talking about how I'd really love to get a CD player. And one evening he turned up at my house with a CD player in a box, and I don't know. We don't really know where it came from. I think I was in the bath at the time, and the way that my parents' house is built, I could hear through the bathroom door him in the kitchen bringing this thing into the house, and all the kerfuffle that went along with it. Essentially, really, this thing came quite literally off the back of a lorry, and he knew somebody that had robbed somebody, probably, and there was this brand spanking new CD player on my my parents' kitchen table, with all this kind of whispering going on. Where did that come from? What's that? Where did it come from? And I heard this roguish boyfriend saying, "Well, I heard the lad talking about a CD player, and he wanted one for Christmas, so I got him a CD player." And my mum and dad are quite, respectable, church-going people. They don't really get mixed up in this kind of stuff, and well, neither, for that matter, does my younger sister either. But this roguish boyfriend was a sort of a bit of a, yeah, let's say, jack of all sorts, I suppose, and he'd managed to land a CD player, and I don't know how much further that discussion went, but it ended up that they wrapped it up and gave it to me for Christmas. Since being grown up now, I've learned my dad was not too happy about this. How they managed to persuade him, I don't know, but anyway, I got it as a present. It would have been 1986, the Christmas of 1986. And because that's when I got the CD player, I can remember the first CDs that I got, because I also got those as Christmas presents on Christmas morning. The first one I opened up was this Stevie Wonder compilation. So yeah, that was one of the first CDs, or the first CD that I got that I opened. Sadly, I don't have it anymore because it was never really my thing, and I don't think I probably listened to it all the way through more than once or twice. And I got rid of it. It's one of those CDs or albums that I wish I hadn't have got rid of, which is kind of one of the things that have led to me being a bit of a vinyl hoarder now, or even a CD hoarder, because I just don't like to get rid of things because I think eventually I may regret that, like I regret getting rid of that Stevie Wonder CD. Anyway, on the same day, Christmas Day, the new album that I got was this one, Duran Duran, Notorious. And even today, when I listen to this, aspects of the album remind me of that Christmas. I would have been in the sixth form at the time, which is in the UK at the time. I don't know if it still is. A sort of non-compulsory school that you would go to take A levels before you go on to college or university. And yeah, this CD player was an AK CD-A7. It was, at the time, you can't really kind of overemphasize this. At the time, these things they were like space age, because this one came with a remote control. We didn't even have a remote control on our television back in '86. Television still looked a bit like this. So, when you got a CD player where the drawer would come out and you took out this, shiny disc with laser technology and you put it on and it would go inside and it would just have this, clinically flawless sound happening. It really was. It was a new age. It was like something from, the future had arrived in our living room. At the time, I had a tiny little. Well, yeah, for Christmas as well. I got a tiny little amplifier. It was about a quarter of the size of this CD player, and it's one that my mum had got on advice from the man in the hi-fi shop. It was, it was adequate. It was my first CD player. I didn't have separates or anything like that at the time, so it did its job. Okay, so that was the first two CDs. The first ones I bought for myself would have been this one, I understand. This is a CD single of Strangelove by Depeche Mode. It came out in '87. So at that time I worked part-time on a mushroom farm picking mushrooms, and I didn't earn much money doing it, maybe about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, £10 a week or something like that, picking on Saturday mornings. And I would have bought this. I can remember actually getting this because it's a CD single. I couldn't really afford to go out and buy an album on CDs. I mean, that was beyond my my resources at the time, but I would have been happy to have bought a CD single, which would have been priced at around about £4, I suppose. And this one has 5 tracks on it, and it's quite, because of the nature of Depeche Mode, very sort of synthesizer-y, digital kind of stuff. It works well as a CD. So, and the other CD which I'm going to show, which is one that I do remember getting early on in those days, is this Eric Clapton 461 Ocean Boulevard. He was kind of enjoying a resurgence, I think, because of the whole, Dire Straits guitar, radio-friendly rock music was sort of kind of big at the time. Eric Clapton was sort of enjoying a sort of a renewed interest in his craft at the time, and this was actually, although I bought it brand new from Woolworths, it was kind of very cheap. I think it was probably like a third of the price of what it should have been. And I happened to be walking home, and I had some cash in my pocket, walking home from school or college, and I saw this and snapped it up. And at the time, I didn't know much of Eric Clapton's music. I was quite new to him, and I just assumed, wow, if this is good, how this record is, or this album, what's the rest of his stuff like? I've since come to learn that it's probably one of the best ones he'd done. And ironically, I got it very cheaply, like it was sort of yesterday's news. Anyway, so that's my story of my first CDs. Thanks very much for watching. Check out my next video. Bye.